Welcome back to Data with Srinivas. In Lesson 5, having helped us to decide which summarized groups remain in report. In Lesson 6, we move from filtering to classification. The business question is simple. Can we classify claim amounts as high, medium, or low? So a manager can understand the report faster. Case when is the SQL expression we use for this. The key idea is that case does not update the table. It creates a calculated output value in the query result. Think of the flow as raw values, then business rules, then meaningful labels. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to read case like a decision tree. Understand why order matters. Use case with numbers and text. Handle nulls and build real claims classification report. Before syntax, understand the business reason. The raw report is correct, but every amount still requires interpretation. Case, let us translate business rules into new calculated column. The thresholds are not SQL rules. They come from the business. SQL is simply implementing them. This is the same pattern we used in lesson 4 and 5. Start with the business question, then decide what SQL operation answer set. Case does not create a new fact and does not change claim amount. It adds a useful interpretation to the output. This is the case mistake I want you to remember. The query can run successfully and still be logically wrong. If we check claim amount greater than or equal to 5,000 before checking 20,000, then a $24,000 claim matches the first condition and becomes medium. SQL stops after the first true when. There may be no error messages. That makes this more dangerous than a syntax error. The golden rule is order your rules by priority. For descending thresholds like this, start with the highest threshold and move downward. Read case as a decision tree. SQL begins at the top. For a claim amount of 24,850, the first question is whether the amount is at least 20,000. Yes, SQL returns very high and stops. If the answer had been no, SQL would move to the 10,000 rule, then 5,000 rule, and finally else. The first true condition wins. This mental model is more important than memorizing the syntax. Here is a standard search case pattern. Case starts the expression. Each when contains condition, then defines what to return when that condition is true. Else is the fallback and closes the expression. And as gives the calculated output column a useful name. Case is an expression, so we can place it in the select list to create a calculated column. It does not modify the claims table. This is our first SSMS demo. The green is one row per claim. We select claim ID, claim date, and claim amount. Then use case to create claim amount category. Notice the thresholds are ordered from highest to lowest because the first true condition wins. Run the query and compare the numeric amount with the category. Pay special attention to values near 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, and 2,000. The original claim amount remains unchanged. Case simply adds a calculated label to the result. This slide connects case to the SQL fundamentals we already know. Where is still responsible for row level filtering. Here it keeps only claims from 2025 using production-friendly hop open date range. Case classifies each remaining claim. Order by controls representation. This is important. Case does not replace where or order by. Each tool has a different job. In SSMS, point to where, case, and order by and explain the responsibility of each. Real business rules often depend on more than one field. This example combines claim amount and status. The most specific rule is $5 pending because both conditions must be true. That rule belongs first. Then we can fall back to $high pending review and finally standard. Before writing a complex case, ask the business priority question. If more than one rule is true, which label should win? The order of when clauses encodes that priority. Case is not limited to numbers. It can have its text too. Here, PPO and HMO map to commercial plan, while Medicare Advantage and Medicaid map to government plan. Text literally use single quotes. In is useful when several values share the same outcome. The broader lesson is that case turn operational detail into reporting categories. Real data is imperfect. A plan type may be missing. A new value may appear. Explicitly handle null with is null, not equals null. Then use else as a safety net for unexpected values. Without else, unmatched rows return null from the case expression. For business reporting, a label such as other plan or needs review is often more useful. Every row should receive a meaningful category whenever the business rules allow it. These are the case mistakes you'd watch for in real work. First, broad rules before specific rules. Second, forgetting the first true rule wins. Third, checking null incorrectly. Fourth, omitting else when unmatched values matter. Fifth, using business terms that the data does not support. Claim amount is claim amount. We should not casually rename it revenue. Sixth, inventing thresholds without confirming the business definition. SQL implements business logic. It should not silently invent it. Now it's your turn. Create a 2025 claims report with claim ID, claim date, claim amount, and claim amount category. Use the 5 thresholds shown on the slide and sort the highest claim amount first. Before typing, separate the problem into responsibilities. Where decides which rows participate. Case classifies each row. Order by control the final presentation. Pause the video and try the query in SSMS before continuing. Here is the solution. Where filters into 2025, case classifies each claim with thresholds ordered from the highest to lowest. Else handles values below 2000. Order by sorts the highest claim amount first. In SSMS, run this query and inspect several rows. Ask to predict the category from claim amount before reading the calculated column. That reinforces the decision tree mental model. Congratulations, you have completed lesson 6 on case when. Case turns business rules into calculated labels. Order matters because the first true condition wins. Case can create numeric ranges, classify text values, combine multiple conditions, and explicitly handle nulls. Else gives us a reliable fallback. Most importantly, case helps transform raw database values into decision ready reporting categories. In lesson 7, we move into subqueries, where one query can use the result of another query to answer deeper business questions. Thank you for learning with data with Srinivas. I will see you in lesson 7.